I would arguably say that when washing your vehicle, drying is actually one of the most important parts of it and one of the areas that you can cause the most amount of damage to your vehicle's finish in terms of scratches and swirl marks, or as we like to call them, love marks. There's a ton of different ways in the detailing industry that you can dry your vehicle's finish. You can use something like a blow car dryer, a master blaster. You can even use something like a leaf blower on there with a stubby attachment, or you can do a towel dry, which is how I prefer to do it. So today we're going to talk about different rinse aids, drying aids, and wash aids that we're going to use towards the end of our wash process to help us pick up that water off the vehicle's finish, not only safely, but effectively and very, very quickly. So welcome back to another out of spec detailing video here from Clear Detailing in Northern Colorado. Let's jump into it. If you are worried about scratches and swirl marks like I am here at the shop, this video is definitely for you and how to improve your wash and drying game. Now again, like I said, there's many different ways to dry your vehicle's finish. Basically, what we're talking about here is this is at the end of your full contact wash, your full hand wash. Now I want to caveat this and omit something here. If you have a ceramic coated vehicle and you're doing a quick foam and rinse off, you do not want to be towel drying any of your vehicle's finish. The whole rationale behind that is if you have some sort of contamination or embedded dirt in your vehicle's finish and you go back and towel dry it, you have a high likelihood at actually scratching it. Now during our wash process, either doing a 2-bucket wash, 1-bucket wash, we're using soaps, lubrication, and getting in there, removing the dirt safely without marring up the vehicle's finish. So make sure if you are towel drying your vehicle, you are doing a full contact wash, not just a foam and a rinse. Now, within drying, my preferred way of doing it is towel drying your vehicle's finished first, and then using something like compressed air, blow car dryer, leaf blower to get all the little nooks and crannies completely dry. But what I also like to use with a towel dry is some sort of drying aid. Now these can also be called rinse aid, they can also be called detailers, anything like that. Now in the past literally probably 10 years, my dedicated drying aid has been this, Waterless Wash from Adams. Now Adams has changed a few different formulas over the years of this, and I think this is really the best generation of their waterless wash. Now you might be asking yourself, why are you using a waterless wash? And maybe what is a waterless wash for that matter? Now, waterless wash is really meant for those folks who don't have access to running water. Like if you're in a city, if you're an apartment complex, if you have, a parking garage where you park your vehicle going up to your apartment, you're not going to have a hose to where you can come out here, foam your car down, do a whole, wash. That's where a lot of the waterless washes, rinseless washes have come from. Basically, they have a ton of lubrication in there and really help pick that dirt up off the vehicle's finish safely. Now, I will be the first to tell you, I'm not a huge fan of this method. If you have the ability to hand wash your vehicle or even do something similar to that, I would much prefer that over waterless wash and rinseless wash. Now, the whole purpose from using waterless wash really came to the lubrication in there. Now, you can just quickly towel dry your car. I'll be doing a demonstration compared to these three later on in this video of just using a towel with your car completely wet and trying to pick up the water. The waterless wash is adding lubrication in there. So the whole point of this is if there is some dust still sitting on your vehicle or an area you may have missed, it's going to help add some lubrication in there. It's also going to help the towel pick up the water into the actual microfiber drying towel here. Very, very helpful. So I've been using waterless wash, absolutely love it. Next over here, I want to talk about a product that I've been playing around with. Now, Ivan over at DIY Detail has been fantastic, guys. His products that he's sent me are absolutely amazing. So I did not purchase this. Ivan sent this to me just saying, hey, I want you to test this out and kind of tell me what you think. And I played with this product so much that I was like, I have to make a video on this. Now, C6 Ceramics Mist is the most expensive out of the bunch here. This retails for $29.99, whereas Waterless Wash over here, $9.99 from Adams, and then Detail Spray, $12.99. So over double the price here. Now, this is a very interesting product because I tested it, and the first time I literally was right in the middle of drying my car, and I texted Ivan and said, what have you put into this product? It is amazing. Now, Waterless Wash over here is not meant to add any sort of protection to it. It's just adding lubrication, but it's not leaving anything behind. C6 Ceramics by DIY Detail is meant to leave something behind, more in that kind of ceramic realm. Now, this is not meant to be a long-term protection. You're not getting 6 months out of this, but the really cool thing that Ivan told me about this product is you're leaving protection behind, you're adding slickness, you're adding gloss to the paint, but you can do this every single time you dry your vehicle. It's not going to get kind of clogged up or really build up over time, especially on a vehicle that's been ceramic coated. That's a very important thing. A lot of the times we'll use these boost products after we've ceramic coated our car to add another layer of protection to the protection. I know it sounds crazy, but doing that can help over an extended period of time. But what you find over, using something like boost products and reload and things like that is that they can often make the finish kind of hazy, and that's when you're getting a lot of buildup. You're putting too much of that material on there. So a lot of the times I don't really like using those quite frequently. Now, tons of different protection ways you can do. I just did a video on Geon Wet Coat. That's a sprayable formulation that's meant to be used with ceramic coatings. You don't want to do that every wash. It's every 3 to 6 months, give or take here or there. But I thought this was really cool because you're kind of combining 2 steps. You're not only drying your car, adding a ton of lubrication, adding a little bit of gloss in there, but you're also leaving a little bit of something there behind. And if you're doing a normal maintenance wash, doing it every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, maybe even every week, depending on how often your vehicle needs to be washed, this is a very cool option. My only negative I'm gonna say for this product, and you'll hear me talk about this throughout the video, is the price. It's very expensive. Now, I have literally almost gone through the entire bottle here because I've been playing with it and have liked it so much that I've been using it on all my vehicles. I probably wash 4 to 5 cars on here, and I probably have 2 to 3 ounces left. So a little does go a long way, but so does with the other products here. So definitely a little bit expensive. Now, the next one here that's sitting right in the middle is Adam's Detail Spray. Now, funny enough, yesterday I was down at Adam's and I was talking to my friend Joe. Now, if you don't know who Joe is, Joe runs quite a bit of the social media down at Adam's. He also makes a ton of content down at Adam's Polishes. I went in to talk about an upcoming video and a series that I'm going to be coming up with here very, very soon. And I asked him about drying aids because I was really just going to make this video with these 2 products and say, wow, these are freaking awesome. I really like that. And I asked Joe, what do you use for a drying aid? Because I saw that they had a new wash aid or rinse aid or something like that there. And I got talking to Joe and we really started to nerd out, as all of these detailers do. And I asked him, what's your favorite? And he goes, Detail Spray, bar none, all day. Of course, Adam Patali, the owner or founder of Adam's Polishes, this is his favorite drying aid too. So I said, okay, I haven't used Detail Spray in a long time. Like, I went 10 plus years ago straight to Waterless Wash and really skipped Detail Spray. The reason being is Detail Spray does have some polymers in it. It's really meant to be used more with kind of quick touch-ups, I would say. It's not meant to wash, it's not meant to add protection, it's meant for those quick touch-ups. Now, you'll see a lot of people at Cars and Coffee, at car shows, using Detail Spray to add quite a bit of gloss to their vehicle, but I think a lot of people use it in the wrong way, so do be careful with it. And Joe was just like, dude, you have to try this out as a drying aid. And I've never used Detail Spray before in that manner. So in today's video, we're gonna be testing it and seeing what I think of it. Now, the interesting thing with this, he was explaining they really have 2 separate lines at Adams. And this is why I wanted to explain this. Detail Spray really sits on their non-ceramic coated side. So Joe was kind of telling me, you really wanna use this if you sealed your car or use something like a wax. Now, I'm not a fan of either, to be honest. So This product is still a little weird against the two categories I have here. He said we have our graphene and ceramic side, so you can use some boosts, some things like that. The graphene detail sprays are really meant to be used with ceramics, or this is meant to be used more with waxes and sealants. So it's a little confusing, if I'm honest, as to why they're so different, but I'm curious to see how this kind of plays and interact with a ceramic sealant. So this has been coated with Geon Wet Coat. I have not had the time to do full paint correction, ceramic coating, coming soon, hopefully. So I think this will be a very interesting test. Now over here, we have two different towels we're going to be using in this test. We have I don't remember exactly the name of this. This is the Rag Company purple, lavender, something, I don't know. These towels are great. I'll leave them in the link in the description below, but this is my absolute favorite drying towel. This is the Liquidator from the Rag Company, and this is my preferred drying towel for pretty much everything. But I also like having these because they're a little bit thinner. You can get into nooks and crannies a little bit more, into vents, into, you know, tiny areas here on the mirror. So I think it's good to have a little bit of both. But what we're going to be doing is basically testing each of these products and see how they feel against not using any sort of drying aid. I think what you're going to see here is they're going to add slickness. They're also going to help pick up water a little bit more. Now, one thing that I want to talk about of my concern with adding something onto your vehicle's finish or leaving something behind is what does it do over time to your towels? Now, that's where this I was a little bit concerned with. Is okay, if we have some ceramic properties that's hydrophobic, if you will, what does that do to a towel after you've used it 10 times? Does it now make the towel completely hydrophobic to where it's not going to pick up water? I haven't found that to be the case, but that's really why I haven't used a product like this, like a ceramic detailer as, you know, a spray like this, because I don't want to ruin my wash towels. These can be very expensive, like $30 plus, and I probably have 30 or 40 of them here at the shop, so it adds up over time. Now again, waterless has really been my go-to. Doesn't leave anything behind, but it adds a ton of lubrication on there. Now you also, of course, have lubrication on your vehicle's finish in terms of water. So I think, you know, combining those two together, picking up all the water and not leaving any sort of water spots or streaks is very apparent. Now, I've actually shot this video out of order, so I've already done the drying on here. What I'll tell you is you're gonna see a big difference of feel. You're gonna see a big difference of slickness on here, and it's hard to portray that through camera, so do bear with me as I just kind of explain a little bit how these work. But again, $9.99, $12.99, and $29.99. Big price differences here. So let's put them to the test and see which is worth your hard-earned money.
A few moments later.
So now that we've rinsed down the car, it is of course time to dry it. I've done a full contact wash on here now, and we want to make sure we get all the water off spot free. So of course I have my two favorite towels over here that I use for drying. These are both Rag Company. Now, we're gonna test this in 4 different ways. So I wanna try one completely without any sort of drying aids here, and then run through these and see what I feel is best for this situation. So if you're not using a drying aid, you're gonna have a fresh, clean towel here, and you're just going to move this across the surface. First initial thoughts on that. It feels very sticky, I would say. It doesn't feel slick, even though this does have protection on it. Of course, has Geon Wet Coat, like I talked about. It still doesn't have any sort of slickness. Now, again, the whole purpose behind having some sort of rinse aid, wash aid, drying aid, whatever you want to call it here, is to have something that's going to add a little bit of lubrication on here, so when your towel is going over it, if you did happen to miss something, it's going to pick it up. Initially here, hopefully you guys can see that, it immediately starts beating the water off here, and this is Adam's Waterless Wash. So first off, my initial feeling there feels a lot smoother than it does without any sort of drying aid. Now again, this has been my absolute go-to. It doesn't add any sort of protection. It's a very great product. It's also the cheapest one here, other than, of course, not using a rinse aid or drying aid. Next, I'm gonna flip the towel over here to a soft, brand new side, and we're gonna play with detail spray. Now again, as I said before, This is not a product I often use, so I'm going to spray it on here. I can immediately see it's beating off the water as it's kind of sheeting off the car, and let's see how this feels. Definitely a lot slicker there than the waterless wash. So some benefits there, I would say. Now again, you may not want to add a little bit of this protection. This has some polymers in it, so that may not be your ideal situation to go on a ceramic coated car. Something that you've had waxed or sealed, this may be a better solution. But honestly, pretty impressed with that. I don't see any sort of streaking. Again, one of the properties that these products actually do when you're getting down to it is they actually help the towel pick up a little bit of the water. Now, I've often been a little bit concerned about using some that have any sort of protection and fear that, okay, we have some hydrophobicness. Is that going to get into the towel and then reduce how that towel works over an extended period of time? Because you're essentially putting hydrophobic properties into your towel here, then where does it go? Now, C6 Mist. This has been a product that I've been playing around with. Now, as I told you guys, Ivan over at DIY Detail sent me this product. I didn't know he was actually sending it, and I was like, holy smokes, this stuff has been awesome. So much so that I've almost gone through an entire bottle. So I'm gonna flip this over here, and I wanna see how this actually feels on here compared to the other two. So I'm gonna spray a good liberal amount, some in the towel here. And honestly, I would put it a little bit in between waterless and the detail spray. I would say the detail spray definitely feels the slickest on here. Now, when we get into gloss enhancers, I think that's something that's an interesting topic. A little concern I have on that is on the Model 3 Performance here, a lot of other vehicles, we have satin trim. I also have matte carbon fiber mirrors on here. Would detail spray actually make them shiny? Probably a little bit more than something like C6 Ceramics Mist over here. So the whole kind of thought process through this video is, do you need to spend a ton for a drying aid, or do you need to spend really nothing at all? My personal preference is here at the shop, when I'm going to use waterless wash, is when a car is getting ready for compound and polish. I very much like it for that. Now, once they're ceramic coated, you're doing maintenance details, you may want to add something into your wash routine that's going to add a little bit of protection. I personally think the detail spray is going to add polymers on top of a ceramic coating, which I'm not super thrilled with. And again, I spent a ton of time with Joe yesterday at Adams talking about this, and he really said that's his favorite go-to spray. And I've been on the waterless wash train. I literally have not had detail spray at the shop here in probably almost 10 years. I've just completely switched to waterless wash. Now, I think waterless wash in this case is probably still my ideal one, except for C6 Mist here. Now, I really, really like this product. The only negative I see in this is the price. At $29.99 a bottle for a 16-ounce bottle, you're gonna go through this quite quickly. Now, I've probably done 4 cars with this entire bottle, so yes, it does add up quickly, but again, I still like the waterless wash. So let me get the car dry here. I'll give you all my thoughts and feelings and which one you should be choosing for your wash and drying routine.
A few inches later.
So I just spent the last couple of minutes completely drying my Model 3 Performance over here and using all of these different drying aids with a few different towels here as I was talking about. Now, again, I really think a drying aid is something you need to have in your detailing arsenal, especially if you're a DIY guy and you want something to not only help you dry your vehicle, but really make it more effective. Now, again, waterless wash has really been the staple here. A lot of reasons for that. I believe this product to have one of the most amount of lubrication. Again, this product is specifically made to really wash your car. Now, we can get into the topic. This is a whole nother video of the whole premise of waterless washes. I'm not a huge fan of them. If it's me, I understand there are restrictions out there. If you live in a city, live in an apartment complex, or you have water restrictions in your state that you're having to use either rinseless washes or waterless washes. But really, as for a drying aid, this is kind of a mixed one. I just have found that it picks up water so nice. It leaves the surface clean, but it doesn't leave anything behind. Now, do I think you need to leave something behind like detail spray or C6 ceramics mist over here? Maybe. It really just depends on what you're going for. Now, I got to be honest, I was actually quite impressed with detail spray here. I did this entire side of the car, and it really feels like it adds a good amount of slickness on there. But I am curious to see over time, will those kind of polymers build up if you use this every single wash? I think it's going to be a little bit harder to tell. Again, when I was talking to Joe, he was explaining to me at Adams the way they do their graphene line versus something like their detail spray is really meant to be used more with sealants and waxes, whereas their graphene stuff is really meant to be used specifically with ceramic coatings. Again, the chemical makeup of these are very different, but I gotta say, it does look like you absolutely can use detail spray on here. And I really, again, was impressed with the slickness, the feel on it, picked up water beautifully. But the one most interesting thing here is just changing towels. Now, of course, I have the purple towels over here. I use these for a little bit tighter areas. They're not as thick as my Rag Company Liquidator over here, which I vastly prefer, the Liquidator. What was interesting is I did this entire side with detail spray. I'm like, wow, this feels really smooth. And then I went to the driver's side again and used C6 mist, and I was like, mist is almost right there. So I think if you're spending a lot of money and really want to go for the best option, I think C6 Mist is great for you. But in all honesty, I don't really think you can go wrong with any of these. I do need to play with some other drying aids and things like that out there, but I think these are uniquely positioned in their own kind of categories, but can still be used, especially for drying aids. So my recommendation is fit with what's in your budget. And again, if you're using a lot of detail spray and you have this around, great. You don't have to purchase Waterless Wash. But personally, for me, over the past 10 years, Waterless Wash has been the absolute staple for me, and I'm still going to continue to use it. Now, during this test, I'm still going to use detail spray a little bit more now and really play with it and see how it works over time on ceramic coated vehicles, on vehicles that have something like a sealant like this one does. I'm anxious to play with that. I'm also anxious to see over time, again, what it does to satin trim, because it does have these gloss enhancers in it. Now, C6 Ceramics also does. The mist over here has gloss enhancers, but what I find is ceramic coatings with gloss enhancers or ceramic type products with gloss enhancers don't seem to make things as shiny as something with like polymers and sealants and things like that do. So it's a very interesting in between. So I would say, honestly, you're not going to go wrong with any of these. If you're on the cheap end, want to have a great product always with you or always in your detailing arsenal, Waterless Wash is really the way to go. I really do like detail spray here though. And then C6 Mist, I think this is going to add protection to your ceramic. Again, what Ivan told me in our little chat that we had is that you can use C6 Mist every single time you wash your car. It's not going to start to clog and really build up. It just goes nicely on top of the ceramic coating. It's not meant to be like a 6-month protection on here. It's just meant to add a little bit of protection to the ceramic coating, which I do really like. But on the flip side, I almost don't like adding a ton of stuff to ceramic coating. So I don't know. As you can see, I'm still a little confused, but honestly, all of these are great. Pick which one works best for you. I would say Waterless Wash gives the least amount of slick fill, but it doesn't leave a ton of stuff behind. Detail spray leaves quite a bit behind and feels nice and smooth. And also C6 Ceramics does, but I think it's going to add more protection than detail spray. But is it worth $30 a bottle? I don't know. That's something you're going to have to play with. So I'll leave all of these products, like I said earlier, in the link in the description below. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll be in the comment section below if you have questions for me, anything I didn't bring up, or importantly, other drying aids that you've tried that you would like me to test here and play around with at the shop. I would be happy to do that. And then maybe in a few months, we can do another comparison and see if there's a better one than these 3 out there. Thanks so much for watching another out of spec detailing video here from Clear Detailing in Northern Colorado. See you in the next one soon. Bye-bye.